Hello, lovely viewers. You are most welcome to our channel Poetry Online. In this video, we shall be presenting to you the major and minor characters of the book So Long a Letter by mariama. Kindly subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to get updates on all our new videos. Once again, let us assure you of a very interesting discussion. Get ready for this lesson. So Long a Letter is a realistic work of art. The work is a fictionalized real-life experience, partly of Giata herself and that of people around her. The diction is clear and direct, as Giata educates the readers about the plight of women under polygamous setup. It is a letter meant to warn, caution, educate, and persuade young men and women against outmoded cultural practices in the society. Mariama also emphasizes the relevance of education, not just to the girl child, but to humanity as a whole. So Long a Letter is a feminist work which describes the life of women in a patriarchal society in Africa or Senegalese society. It denounces gender discrimination and violation of human rights of women in patriarchal society. The story is one of the finest examples of feminism in the context of African literature. The woman writer articulates the injustice and oppression done to women. So Long a Letter is a masterpiece. In this story, we come across characters like Ramatoulaye. Ramatoulaye is a widowed Senegalese woman who, after 25 years of marriage and 12 children, narrates the story of a psychological abandonment by her husband who takes a second wife. She is the major character and narrator of the book So Long a Letter. The book is both her diary and a long letter to her best friend Aissatou. She belongs to the generation that grew up under the French colonial regime and came of age just as Senegal was achieving its independence. Accordingly, she is very politically engaged and reflects on the future of her country, the role of tradition in modern life, and the prospect of women's liberation. She is fundamentally a feminist, though she holds certain beliefs that some feminists might find unfamiliar or perhaps even disagree with. For one, she is a devout Muslim and follows the dictates of her faith, even when it seems to advocate the unequal treatment of women. Though she is a teacher and has a professional life of her own, she is also a devoted wife and mother. Her faith and her patience are tested when her husband, Modo, decides to take a younger wife, perfectly acceptable in Senegalese Muslim culture, and proceeds to abandon Ramatoulaye and her 12 children. Despite Modo's infidelity, she chooses to remain married to him. Ramatoulaye, the protagonist and narrator of the novel, a strong-willed, intelligent, and introspective woman. She is a devoted mother and wife who finds herself navigating the complexities of polygamy, widowhood, and societal expectations. Ramatoulaye's character exemplifies resilience as she confronts the hardship and societal norms that attempt to suppress her voice. Ramatoulaye is the protagonist and narrator of the story So Long a Letter, who is seen constantly at the hands of male counterparts. She faces anguish and psychological endurance during the course of the novel. After a long time of oppression and suppression in a male-dominated society, she finally decides to move ahead of all these mechanisms where women are meant to be exploited or treated like second-class citizens. Her mourning allows her to retire from her responsibilities and have a look at the present traditions and social mores that treat women no better than second-class citizens. She has been conscious of the hard conditions of women, about which she makes a comment at the very onset of the novel. Ramatoulaye sacrificed her personality, dignity, and had to become a servant to the members of the family of the person whom she had married. She had been enslaved to her husband, his grandparents, brother-in-laws, sister-in-laws, as well as the cousins. Let's now move to Aissatou. Aissatou is Ramatoulaye's best friend, to whom the letter is addressed. She divorced Maldo because she did not believe in polygamy. Her divorce is symbolic because it represents a new life for her. She succeeds in making a new life for herself after the divorce of her husband. Aissatou is Ramatulai's old childhood friend and the addressee of this letter. She comes from a rather poor family. Her father is a goldsmith. Aisetu's experience is similar to that of Ramatulai in terms of their marital life. She faces similar troubles in her marital life. That is, her husband takes a young second wife of noble birth in order to please his mother, but she reacts to it quite differently. Unlike Ramatulai, Aisetu decides to leave her husband. Of a much more independent spirit than Ramatulai, Aisetu decides to pursue her education. She ends up moving to America to work in the Senegalese embassy there. She becomes a symbol of defiance against societal norms when she divorces her husband after he takes a second wife. Aisetu's character represents independence, courage, and the pursuit of personal liberation. She serves as a source of inspiration, motivation, and support for Ramotulai throughout the novel. The character of Aisetu is a great contrast to that of Ramotulai, for she does not bow and surrender to the injustice of life. Upon the betrayal of her husband, Maldo, in marrying a younger lady than her, she decides to break up their relationship by divorcing him. She does not mourn or care for the security of her children like Ramotulai. Instead, she moves ahead, advances her education, and takes up job for herself. The protagonist is sorry for the existing conditions, fallacious beliefs, and stereotyping roles of the individuals that allow certain individuals to be harassed, humiliated, and tormented. Mariama comes heavily on the tradition of polygamy, for she believes it is the root cause of pain and distress for most of the women in Islamic communities. Polygamy is one of the recurrent and most important themes in almost all novels of Mariama Ba. She does not fail to underline the adverse and devastating conditions of women due to the tradition of polygamy. Let's now discuss the character of Modo. Modo is the husband of Ramotulai and of Benito. He is well educated, handsome, and charming. For his own selfish desires, he marries Benito and cut ties with his 12 children and first wife Ramotulai. He dies of a heart attack. Modo is Ramotulai's husband. He is a union organizer and, like Ramotulai, engaged in his country's politics. At first, the two are very deeply in love, and they marry despite the protestations of Ramotulai's parents. However, their love fades as they grow older. Modo takes interest in his daughter's young friend Benito. He lavishes her with gifts and money, and eventually decides to marry her without telling Ramotulai. After his second marriage, Modo essentially abandons Ramotulai and their 12 children. His death occasions Ramotulai's letter to Aisetu. Modo is Ramotulai's husband, who betrays her by marrying a younger woman, thus subjecting her to the pains of polygamy. Modo's character represents the constraint of traditional gender roles and the expectations placed on men in society. His actions cause great heartache for Ramotulai and catalyze a journey of self-discovery and empowerment. Next is Maudu. Maudu is the ex-husband of Aisetu. After being pressured by his mother, Maudu follows Muslim tradition of polygamy and marries a young girl named Nabu, who is also his first cousin. He is Maudu's longtime friend and a doctor. Maudu is a doctor, an upstanding citizen, and a member of Senegalese class of nobles. He and Aisetu fell in love despite the class differences between their two families. This upset Maudu's mother, who eventually tricks him into taking on his young cousin Nabu as a second wife. He does so somewhat reluctantly, but then proceeds to have children with her, claiming all the while that he only loves Aisetu. Aisetu, who could not accept this, decides to leave him. Even after Aisetu's departure, however, Maudu remains a good friend to Ramotulai. Next is Benito. Benito is Maudu's second wife and a friend of Daba. She is only 17 years when she reluctantly marries Maudu. She does so at the urgence of her family, who are after Maudu's money. Benito survives her marriage to Maudu by making fun of him, ordering him around, and making him buy her expensive things. Dauda. Dauda is Ramatullahi's second suitor after the death of her husband. He represents an alternative path for Ramatullahi, offering her stability and companionship. Dauda's character stands in contrast to the patriarchal norms embodied by Modu, portraying a more egalitarian and supportive relationship. So Long a Letter offers the stories of women who have been victimized by tradition and superstitions. The novel revolves around the problems of the protagonist and other women in it. It explores the suffering, pain, and traumatic experiences of the women characters in the novel, and also reveals how they encounter the situation that surround them. In the face of Aisetu, the writer gives birth to a new woman who rejects accepting another woman in the life of her husband and who rebels by breaking up the marital bond. This kind of activities will possibly put a check on the tradition of polygamy. Mariama Ba emerges as a pioneering feminist writer in giving a call for the redefinition of gender roles in African literature. Thanks for watching this video. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video.